I'm Budda and you're watching Dr. Guitar, a show for all you guitarists out there. In today's episode, I'm comparing my two Les Paul guitars. One is the Les Paul Special 2018 model, and the other is my Les Paul Classic 1960 from, I guess it's a 93 or 94 guitar. I bought it new. Not in 93, but I bought it new probably in 97 or 8. Something like that. It was my third guitar and my first classic guitar, because I had Floyd Rose guitars before that. But I always was very curious about the difference of a P90 versus a humbucker. First of all, I want to thank my patrons for supporting the show. Thank you so much. If you want to become a patron, just go to the Patreon link and follow the steps. It's very easy. You can also support the channel by donating money via PayPal or by merchandising on my website or either on Teespring. And if you are interested in guitar lessons with me, just send me an email or a direct message on Facebook or Instagram and we'll deal with it from there. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite pickup, the P90 or the humbucker, or is it another one? I'm way more a single coil guy, and when I say single coil, I basically say I'm more a Fender guy, although I play Nags guitars, which are kind of a very boutique-y, great Fender meets Gibson guitar, because it's a set neck, but it's ash body, rosewood fretboard, not mahogany, 25 inches scale length. It's a Fender scale length, although no, while the Gibson is 24 and a half. So it's Gibsons are a little slinkier, easier to bend strings. The radius is flatter on the Gibsons. Different guitars, but I was always like very curious about the difference of a P90 and an humbucker. Is the P90 single coily like a Tele? No, it isn't. The P90, I think it's even fatter than an humbucker. The humbucker has a little more output and has a lot more mid-range to my ears. But the P90 can be fatter, so it's sometimes woofier, but it's also jazzier because it's less articulate. So the humbucker to me is way more defined, way more clear sounding than the P90. What I love about this guitar, and this is a stock guitar, not very expensive for a Gibson. What I love about this guitar is that it cleans up really great, and I end up using it almost always on 5 on the volume because it's bright as a Tele and very, very single coily sounding. And then I still have from 5 to 10 to give me a boost. So I can use this guitar to a clean amp, or I can use it to a dirty amp, which I prefer, and clean it a lot. And the opening, I was using the full tone GT500 distortion pedal, which is a great sounding distortion pedal. So I could have a lot of gain and then back it up. Let's go through the guitar. So my Les Paul Classic is super heavy. This is a light guitar, and they both have two rows of controls. So I will explain you how I like to use the 2 rows of controls before we started comparing it. So let me use a clean tone neck pickup. I usually use bright cables with Humbuckers guitars. I don't use my coily cable because it's too dark for this guitar. Middle. And bridge. And this is immediately a great sounding guitar because it's pushing the amp a little. I'm using the Lone Star as usual and the verge of breakup. It's pushing the amp a little. And if I turn the volume a little down, like to 5, 6, well, 5. Not much happens in terms of volume, but it becomes weaker. The guitar becomes weaker. And almost, to me, it sounds almost like a telly, which I love. So you can have a telly, like this is the clean tone. If I use the King of Tone with a little drive, and then I can have my boost going to 10. Back to 5. And because of the architecture of the volume on this guitar, the guitar becomes way more bright when you turn down the volume. So if I use both pickups on 4, as I'm using now the bridge pickup, let's turn on the neck pickup. Even less, 3. It loses mid-range, which makes it sound way more single-coily to my taste. So I love the thing on a Les Paul that you can use independent volumes to get independent tones on each pickup. But better yet is that when you use the middle position, you're having both pickups on, so you can balance each pickup into the equation. So if we use them equally, 4 and, well, not equally, but as I was using it, 3.5 on the neck, 4 on the bridge. It's almost sounding like a single coil, but a little too bright for me, so I will raise the neck pickup a little. A little more of the neck pickup. And just the neck pickup. You see, it's way more mid-ranges. So this is the beauty of 2 sets of controls on a guitar, because you can really tailor the sound. A lot of people use Les Pauls and 335s always in the middle position and then play with the controls, because this is kind of a bass control and this is kind of a treble control, if you look at it that way. So you can have a treblier tone or a more bassy tone depending on the balance of the 2 pickups. And whenever you combine 2 pickups on every guitar, you lose mid-range. So it becomes single-coily, more single-coily sounding than the humbucker. So the humbucker is more articulate. Mid-range will give you the smack, will give you the first hit of the guitar, so will give you the pick attack, the transient. And if you have less mid-range, you don't hear as much of the fist, of the snap. You hear the rounding of the note. So listen, neck pickup. Both pickups. You hear more of the highs, less of the mid-range, but let's make them sound 4/4. It's heavier when you hit it hard, and that's what I find strange in an humbucker guitar, and what I'm loving, finding out that if you take off the volume, you basically are taking off some of that attack and some of the mid-range, but you still have it as a boost. So if I'm playing like rhythm guitar, have this very articulated sound. But look at my volume pot here. I will be turning it up and listen what happens. The guitar tone will fet up a lot, like I was turning off an overdrive into it, and it gets more mid-rangey, more pick attack. So listen, starting at 4. So the great thing is, with a guitar like this that has more output than a Tele or a Strat or any single coil guitar, you can use it to your advantage, not playing in 10. I've heard this from guys like Joe Bonamassa or David Grissom. A lot of those guys don't play at 10. They play with the volume cut off, and then they have where to go. So I started playing like that, and I really enjoyed it, especially if you have an amp that is broken, that is breaking in. You have a little drive, and then you can play with the drive. But even with this, like with a clean amp, it sounds super 50s to me, super jazzy. And this is a thing common to both guitars. Now, the pickups sound very different from each other, and they behave different with the volume setup. I think the P90s are even more sensitive to this. So let's dive into the comparison. I will play a G chord on every pickup so you can hear both guitars playing a G chord on 10, of course. So bridge pickup. Middle pickup. You can definitely hear that this guitar is way brighter than the humbucker guitar, the Les Paul humbucker. This sounds and feels way more Telecaster than, of course, the Les Paul humbuckers. Let's test it like on 4, bridge pickup on 4, that thing with the volume. So this guitar on 4 is not the same. So let me check it where it becomes kind of a Fendery tone. I think it's around 7.5. Let's hear the neck pickup. And since these pickups are a little less high output than the humbucker pickups, the behavior of the guitar is when you turn down the volume, they are too weak to drive the sound. So there's way more difference in volume by changing the volume on this guitar than there is on the Les Paul with humbuckers, because the Les Paul with humbuckers is compressing the amp a little more, and the pickups are also compressing a little more. So you have more to play with. But if you pair an amp that is already driving, like I use my Pro Junior, for example, or if I just use a guitar pedal or even the amp's overdrive, this guitar will handle it really good. But let's go with neck pickup on 7 and then full on 10 on top of the loop that I created before. Yeah, it's way more Telecaster, way more single coily sounding, way brighter. Let me check it with distortion so I can express what I was saying. So with the full tone GT 500, we have a lot of distortion, but it cleans up really good. So let me go from 0 to 10. was lost. Yeah, this is, I think, where this guitar shines. It's with a little gain, you have a lot of options just with the guitar volume. And I'm not even changing pickups or using the tone control, but another great spot that I love the 2 volume pickup guitars in 3 positions is instead of using them fully on the middle position, you just back off a little of the bridge position and you have that Clapton tone, that darkish tone, but it's different than the neck. So just the neck. Then when we back off a little of the bridge, it becomes like a kind of this sound, but with a little more articulation. It's beautiful. So both on. Let me use less distortion. So the king of tone. So it almost sounds like a fuzz, but it's just because of the guitar articulation. It's not the fuzz. It's kind of creating that crispy top, but very compressed low mid range. If we have both on 10, it doesn't sound like. Love it. Let's hear the humbuckers on my Les Paul Classic. Although this is a Les Paul Classic 1960, it's the model. It's not from 1960. It's actually from 1994 or something. The pickups are not the original ones, the ceramic ones. I didn't like it. It was too aggressive. So these are burst buckers 2 and 3. Let's listen to it with the distortion GT500 again, coming from the bridge, playing with the volume from 0. I have it on 1 right now. It's on 3 and it's already distorting a lot. This is usually what I don't like about a Les Paul. On the neck pickup, it's too violin sounding, and I don't use that violin sounding guitar on purpose. I like the clarity on the neck pickup, like on a Strat. But if you're looking for that violin sound like Brothers in Arms, for example, that kind of very fat sounding guitar, this is a great one. But this is also cool jazz guitar, if you turn. And another thing I like about humbucker guitars is that on 9 or 9.5, depends on the guitar, if you cut the volume just a little, it tames the highs a little, just a little, but it's enough for it to be warmer. It almost sounds like you have flat bound strings. As opposite, this is on 8, as opposite to 10. 8 again. So it tames off a little of the initial attack. But if you go back to 4, the clarity comes back. We're the king of tone. Yeah, I'm learning to play more with the humbucker guitars and get more of the tones that I want just by playing with the controls. I told you the story before, but I was playing in Israel and I played the an R9 Les Paul. So it's a 1959 custom shop reissue. And it was killer. It was sounding like a Tele. But then I come back and I played with my retro coil cable and it's back. It sounded like this one. So I was like, okay, so this is probably the cable. Now I'm using brighter, very bright cables with this guitar. Actually, I'm using the nitric plug, the timbre plug, which has 4 different tones. So you can really understand what I'm saying about the guitar. So this is on the brightest setting. If I put it on the darker, which is kind of sounding like my retro coil, it's great for the jazzy tone. But it's a little too muffled. Right setting. So I consider this guitar way heavier sounding, but also older sounding. So it sounds a lot like the 50s to me. If I want to play like those like rock and roll or T-Bone Walker licks, like. Or if I want to play those heavier, when I want to play rock and roll and the Tele is not enough, this is the guitar to go. So just a little king of tone. Let's compare it with the P90, king of tone. But this guitar also feels lighter, more resonant than that one, and they sound very different acoustically. Like, this sounds way more mid-rangey, mid-rangey than that one. That sounds hollower than this. The Humbucker one is also heavier like hell, so I'm not playing it live anymore. So for example, if I was stacking guitars, if I was doubling guitars, what is doubling is like playing this riff twice, and usually you do it in the studio. You play twice the same riff, and you put one to the left, one to the right, and you get a massive tone. If I was doubling guitars, I would use both, one on each speaker. Actually, let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just for you to compare it, let's hear the tele. Well, that's it. I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope you have liked the episode. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe and leave your thumbs up if you like the episodes. It's very important for YouTube to suggest the videos to other people. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can either become a patron, just go to my Patreon link, or you can support us via PayPal. Well, support us, it's just me, but you can support me via PayPal, just donating any money you can and wish. You can also go to my website and look for merchandising over there. There's t-shirts, mugs, CDs, my band CDs, pen drives with music, etc. And if you are interested in guitar lessons with me, just send me an email or a direct message on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll deal with it from there. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite pickup, the P90 or the Humbucker, or is it another one? Thank you so much. We'll see each other next week. Bye-bye.